Did you know that philosophy was practiced long before the Greeks developed it? Hello and welcome to World History Encyclopedia. My name is Kelly and today's video in honour of World Philosophy Day, which is celebrated on the third Thursday of November every year. We are having a look at what philosophy is, some of its earliest history and developments. Don't forget, the easiest way to support us is by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel and hitting that bell icon for notifications so you don't miss out on any new uploads. World History Encyclopedia is a non-profit organisation and we're now on Patreon, a brilliant site where you can support our work and receive exclusive benefits in return. Your support helps us create videos twice a week, so make sure to check it out via the pop-up in the top corner of the screen or via the Patreon link down below. The word philosophy comes from the two Greek words, philo meaning love and sophia meaning wisdom. So philosophy literally means the love of wisdom. Philosophy can be broadly defined as the study of human existence and the fundamental nature of existence, reality, and knowledge. The first time somebody asked a question about existence and reality, like why was I born, what is my purpose, or how do I understand my life, would be considered the beginning of philosophy. In the ancient world, philosophy was turned to at the times when religion couldn't provide an answer, which we will see time and time again in the examples throughout the ancient world. There are 5 main areas of interest in modern-day philosophy which can be applied to philosophy in both the East and the West, but the names that they're now known by come from the Greeks. The first branch is Metaphysics, which is the study of existence and is named after Aristotle's work on the subject. However, the title of Aristotle's book, Metaphysics, was given by his editor, who placed it after his work, Physics. In Greek, meta simply means after, and the title was originally only meant to clarify that the one piece came after the first. Next is Epistemology, which is the study of knowledge and comes from the two Greek words, episteme meaning knowledge and logos meaning word. This branch asks, how do we know what we know? How can we define knowledge? And the study of this branch of philosophy didn't begin until the Presocratics. We'll get to that very soon. Next is ethics, from the Greek ta ethika, which translates to on character, and is the study of behaviour and action. Ethics is concerned with the idea of morality and how one should live and on what basis should one make decisions. The fourth branch is politics, which is the study of governance, and whose name comes from the Greek polis, which means city, and politikos, meaning that which has to do with the city. Politics isn't concerned with simply running a government, but is concerned with how to be a good citizen, a good neighbour, and a contributor to one's community. The dilemma of how to live best with one's neighbours, although popularised in the West by Aristotle, is a concept which can be traced back thousands of years to Mesopotamia, Egypt, Persia, and India. Finally, we come to aesthetics, which is the study of art, of beauty, and the perception of beauty. This branch of philosophy strives to answer questions like what makes something beautiful or meaningful. Now that we've introduced the main concepts of philosophy and how philosophy can be understood, let's have a look at its development throughout the ancient world, starting with Mesopotamia and Egypt. By circa 4000 BCE, it seems that philosophy was already established in Egypt in the form of a response to the field of reeds. The field of reeds was believed to be the paradise in the afterlife, where you get to continue living your life as you did on earth, but better, because there's no sickness, disappointment, or, of course, death. The philosophical question the Egyptians were working with was how should a person live in order to ensure they would go to paradise, the field of reeds, after death? The answers to these questions developed the concept of ma'at, harmony and balance, as a central value of Egyptian culture. A good life was one lived in harmony with oneself, others, the gods, and the natural world, as seen from tomb paintings dating from circa 4000, which also explained where people came from and how to get into paradise. Looking to Mesopotamia, the Mesopotamians saw themselves as co-workers with the gods. The gods created humanity, and so the humans owed the gods a debt of gratitude through worship and proper behaviour. Problems arose when humans kept their part of the bargain, but it seemed the gods didn't come through with theirs. When someone felt they had done as they should, but did not receive the expected response, they questioned their faith. This sort of crisis, why did something bad happen when we have been honouring the gods as we're supposed to, prompted philosophical inquiry. This moment of existential crisis is explored in the Epic of Gilgamesh, when Gilgamesh's best friend Enkidu dies, and Gilgamesh embarks on his quest for meaning in life. Gilgamesh doesn't question the gods or his relationship with them until the death of Enkidu, which spurs him on a quest to find and escape from death. Philosophy developed in India as a response to the Hindu texts known as the Vedas, in the form of the Upanishads, written down between circa 1500 and circa 500 BCE, but come from an even older oral tradition. The Vedas were believed to be the literal words of God, and the Upanishads were composed as a way to clarify and explain aspects of the text. In around 600 BCE, there was a reform of social and religious beliefs, which developed other philosophical systems which rejected orthodox Hinduism, including the school of Charvaka and the systems of Jainism and Buddhism. Both Jainism and Buddhism would later become religious beliefs, but before that, they were philosophical schools of thought. It is important to note that at the time of the development of the new philosophical beliefs in India, as it is today, there was no distinction between religious and philosophical thought. Philosophy was considered a component of religion which anticipated and answered people's questions before they could be asked. Philosophy in ancient Persia was certainly developed before 1500 BCE, which is known due to the Avesta, Zoroastrian scripture, that was written down between 1500 and 1000 BCE, and draws on concepts from the polytheistic early Iranian religion. Zoroastrianism is a religion founded by Zoroaster, which was a monotheistic faith that worshipped the god Ahura Mazda, both the creator and sustainer of the universe, who worked against Angra-Mainyu, the lord of chaos and darkness and the source of evil and suffering in the world. The philosophical school known as Zorvanism developed because of the question about the source of evil and suffering, since Angra-Mainyu was understood as a created being, and Ahura Mazda, who had no evil in him, as the source of all creation. If Ahura Mazda was all good, where did evil come from? Zorvanism tried to answer this by claiming that the god of infinite time, Zorvan, created both Ahura Mazda and Angra-Mainyu, and Angra-Mainyu then introduced evil through his own free will. These two brothers were locked in an eternal struggle of order and goodness versus chaos and evil, and humans had to take a side. A person's purpose in life was understood as exercising one's free will and deciding whether to devote oneself to the cause of good or evil. During the Zhou dynasty in China between 1046 and 256 BCE, philosophy was first written down in the form of the early Confucian texts, and during the Spring and Autumn period between circa 772 and 476 BCE, and the Warring States period between circa 481 to 221 BCE, these texts were further developed. The Spring and Autumn period and the Warring States periods in China were times of chaos, and it was in response to the disorder that philosophy was developed. The period of philosophical advancement at the end of the Zhou dynasty is referred to as the 100 Schools of Thought, when many different schools developed, including Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism. These three schools of thought, among others, were very different, but all were focused on attempting to establish order in the chaos, since the traditional belief that Tian, or heaven, which legitimized a monarch's rule and maintained order, seemed to be failing, since the monarchs of different states were fighting each other for supremacy. China during this period is among the best examples of philosophy developing after the traditional religious beliefs failed to explain the world and assure people of a divine plan. Ancient Greek philosophy began in the 6th century BCE, with Thales of Miletus asking the question, what is the basic stuff of the universe? What's interesting about Thales asking this question in the 6th century BCE is that there isn't any evidence that the religious beliefs of the ancient Greeks were being questioned or doubted. The ancient Greeks believed their pantheon of gods created the world and human beings, and questioning this was neither appreciated nor encouraged. Thales was clever though, and never actually denied the existence of the gods. Instead, he just suggested that the first cause of existence was water, which could be interpreted as including the deities. He ended up establishing a school known as the Milesian School, which is considered the first philosophical school in the West, and his followers, Anaximander and Anaximenes, continued his work, although rejecting Thales' suggestion of water as the first cause, and they suggested their own instead. These three men initiated ancient Greek philosophy, which continued to be developed by other pre-Socratic philosophers. So called because they lived and wrote before Socrates of Athens, considered the father of Western philosophy. What's equally fascinating and frustrating is that Socrates, who lived between circa 470 or 469 to 399 BCE, didn't leave a scrap of work that he wrote himself. And everything that we know about him, his beliefs and philosophy and his death, comes from the works of his two students, Plato and Xenophon. According to Plato in his Apology, Socrates believed that an unexamined life is not worth living, and his focus was on improving individual character and examining your beliefs to see if they are true, or if you only think them true without good reason. Most of Plato's dialogues feature Socrates as the central character, but even contemporaries of Plato claimed that his character of Socrates did not resemble the real person, and the Socrates character was only Plato's mouthpiece. This may be true, but Plato attributes the concept of the theory of forms, which is basically the idea that what we call reality is just a reflection of a higher and perfect world, to Socrates. The theory of forms claims there are these abstract, unchanging, and perfect truths that exist outside of time and place, which make all things we see on Earth what they are. These truths are what make a statement actually true, what makes a horse or a person actually beautiful, what makes concepts like justice and right meaningful instead of just someone's opinion. The forms made life meaningful because acknowledging their existence aligned one with truth instead of merely opinion. Plato's student Aristotle rejected this theory because it could not be proven, and instead suggested that the purpose of human life was happiness. Everything in life had a purpose, Aristotle said, and the purpose of a human was to be happy, or as he put it, to be possessed of a good spirit which would then encourage others to do the same. A theory similar to the ancient Egyptian concept of Ma'at. He didn't concern himself as much with the concept of a first cause, instead focusing on how best to live one's life. But he did define the first cause as the prime mover, which set everything in motion, and afterwards, things just stayed in motion. Aristotle became the tutor of Alexander the Great, who would spread Aristotle's philosophy throughout the known world, through the Near East, and as far as India. The development of Greek thought throughout the ancient world established Greece as the birthplace of philosophy. But as we have seen, philosophical inquiry began long before Thales started asking his questions, and most likely when the first person asked why things happened as they did. Who is your favourite philosopher, and what's your favourite philosophy? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our new videos every Tuesday and Friday. This video was brought to you by World History Encyclopedia. For more great articles and interactive content, head to our website via the link below. If you like my shirt, you can find this design and a bunch more at apricusclothing.ca, or you can find the link for it down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon with another video.